My avatar is okay. And we are live. Hello, hello, everybody who will be watching this later, because I know no one's watching right now. And welcome to another installment of the Pale Galilean.
One wonders if Flo thinks he's a Galilean.
Well, I'm streaming very, very late, and the reason for that particularly is simply due to the fact that my schedule was completely swamped for today, and I needed some downtime. Otherwise, I was just going to be nodding out here during this presentation, and that would not make for a good one. And also, I'm realizing that my avatar is not what I want. Let's go old school. Old school is better. All right, so somebody,
Old school.
so there are
What are you on
here.
about?
Let's go over those first. Everybody's really asking if I'm there, and yeah. So if anyone's wondering,
You're not right in the
why
head.
I wasn't on at 11:15 like I promised, well, you know why.
Ryan will be in a minute. Don't worry.
I don't expect anybody to be watching now, and that's a little sad. But regardless, we shall do this.
We? Who are you on about as we?
Let me share something here. Get that ready. Here we are. Okay. Now, first to announce what we're doing.
What we are doing. What you are doing.
A particular video by John MacArthur that is embarrassingly bad pseudo-history. Not bad in so much as what he says is egregiously false, as much as how he really wants to attempt to portray.
Hold on. You refer to bad pseudo-history. So presumably then, Flo, you have good false history. In other words, good pseudo-history. You don't. You are a liar. You say that the Catholic so-called Church only killed 30,000 in the Inquisitions. That is beyond ridiculous. Perhaps you're only thinking of the one day. Can't remember if it was Holland or France. St. Bartholomew's Day massacre. And it isn't the only massacre. You dummy. You liar. I notice Ryan's there. He'll probably come in the studio in a minute because, well, Calvinism, to a certain extent anyway, is Catholic light.
This particular historical figure, who is Jan Hus, or anglicized John Hus. Now, John Hus was considered a proto-Protestant reformer, specifically someone who provided a foundation, more or less, for the Protestant Reformation to facilitate itself. However, every historian knows, and every valid historian knows, it's a complete mistake to refer to this man as a Protestant, because he never was. He just wasn't.
All right.
No one.
Well, there's your explanation.
Make that argument consistently. And so, what we're going to do, we're going to respond to this video where John MacArthur says things. This I actually have to thank Diego for, and so
He just wasn't. Is an explanation that nails it. Just take his word for it. Why not?
Thank you for the suggestion, Diego. And now we are going to
stop going on about we. It's you, not us, not anybody listening to you.
It's actually uploaded by somebody else, not John MacArthur precisely. It's Grace
How
Ministry
patronising can you
NZ. I'm
get?
going to assume that means New Zealand or something like that.
Please don't tell me.
This channel has 2,150 subscribers, and that is 2,000 and that's 2,000 too many.
In your view?
Anyway, without further delay.
Oh,
Good joke, Ryan. Okay.
What
Without
a
further
knob.
delay, we're going to start the video, I suppose. I don't think there's any more introduction I need to do here. Anyway, before we watch the video, and maybe I'll interrupt, or maybe we'll go through the 5 minutes. We'll see what happens. I want the people watching this to keep this in the back of their mind, that Jan Hus was not a Protestant.
Oh,
So, consider this fact with what John
Is it a
MacArthur is
fact?
saying about him.
is it a
Let's
fact?
go.
The date was July 6th, 1415, pre-Reformation. The most powerful preacher of the Bible of his age, John Huss, had been condemned to death.
Yeah, by the
Everybody
Catholics.
knew about his preaching, at least in Prague and the surroundings, because he preached in Bethlehem Chapel, one of the great churches, if not the greatest, largest auditorium in that part of the world. And he preached the Bible. He wanted to make the Bible clear to the people.
And the Catholics
Okay,
don't like
let's
that.
stop there. Did he really want to make the Bible clear to the people? Was that his intent?
Oh,
Really?
really?
Because historians beg to differ. In fact, as I have to just demonstrate this, let me share the Wikipedia article here, because the fact is you don't need to go far to see that what's being said here isn't really true.
Or just making a brew. I wonder how long this garbage is going to
You
go
don't
on.
need to go far to see that what's being said here isn't really true. So let me bring that one up. And here we are. Now I'm not going to go over what his early life, because that's not really how I would say pertinent to the conversation.
Isn't it?
The reason being is because before this he was a faithful son of the church. It was around the Avignon Schism.
A faithful what? When you say the church, you're on about Roman Catholicism. In Europe, if you refused Roman Catholicism in the sense of you denied their teachings and this, that, and the other, you're almost guaranteed to get done in by the Catholics. So yeah, there was a lot of fear around. People wanted their families to live, obviously. Yeah. Even Martin Luther was an ex-Catholic. I'm not Lutheran. A son of the church. Give it over.
That you see fissures start to change. In 1408, Charles University in Prague was divided by the Western Schism, in which Gregory XII of Rome and Benedict XIII in Avignon both claimed to be the Pope, or both claimed the papacy. Wenceslas felt that Gregory XII might interfere with his plans to be crowned Holy Roman Emperor. He denounced Gregory, ordered the clergy of Bohemia to observe a strict neutrality in the schism and expected the same of the university. Archbishop Zajic remained faithful to Gregory. At the university, only scholars of the Bohemian nation, one of the four governing sections, with Huss of their leader, vowed neutrality. So it's very interesting. At the onset of this schism, which again would prove to be more terraformed to Jan Hus's beliefs, he took an aura of utter neutrality here. And it's not really what you'd expect from a reformer, would it? That really wanted to make the Bible clear to people. In 1409, Wenceslas summoned representatives of the four nations comprising the University of the Czech city of Kutna to demand the statements of allegiance. The Czech nation agreed.
I don't know what that noise is. It's not coming from me. It's his channel.
But the other three nations declined. The king then decreed that the Czech nation would have free votes in university affairs, and the German vote, composed of the former Bavarian, Saxon, and Polish nations, would have one vote in total. Due to the change in voting structure by May 1409, the German dean and rector were deposed and replaced by Czechs. The Palatin elector called to the Germans by his own university in Heidelberg, while the Margrave of Messine started a new university in Leipzig. It is estimated that over 1,000 students and masters left Prague. The emigrants also spread accusations of Bohemian heresy. So you essentially have a papal schism, and people are taking sides. By 1409, the Council of Pisa tried to the Council of Pisa tried to end the schism by electing Alexander V as Pope, but Gregory and Benedict did not submit. Alexander was declared anti-pope by Council of Constance in 1418. Huss and his followers in Wenceslas transferred the allegiance to Alexander V. Under pressure from King Wenceslas IV, Archbishop Zajic did the same. Zajic then lodged an accusation of ecclesiastical disturbances against Wycliffes in Prague with Alexander V. Or the term Wycliffites here should rather be called Lollards. That's typically the accepted name for Wycliffe's followers. Now, what needs to be understood here is that what is being laid down is ultimately, how should I say this? This is different from Martin Luther's experience. Because Martin Luther's experience was made and forged with an understanding of rather, how put it, novel doctrines of Ecclesia Scriptura, of Sola Fide and Sola Scriptura. And what happens from this, from Martin Luther's zealotry towards these newfound doctrines, comes out the Reformation. And already this is different from Hus's experience, because Jan Hus, his start here, his start of heresy, you might argue, comes not from newfound doctrines that the Reformation held, but more from a misunderstanding or a disobedience of doctrines established in his day, not from their active denial, which is what Sola Fide and Scriptura would have to constitute. Now, here's interesting. Archbishop Zajic died in 1411, and with his death, the religious movement of Bohemia instituted a new phase in which the disputes concerning indulgences assumed great importance. Huss spoke out against indulgences, but could not carry with him the men of the university. In 1412, a dispute took place on which the occasion, Hus delivered his address, Quacito Majesty Johannes Hus de Indulgentis. It was taken literally from the last chapter of Wycliffe's book De Ecclesia in his treatise De Absoluti e Pena di Culpa. I'm probably butchering these Latin phrases. Who's asserted that no pope or bishop had the right to take up the sword in the name of the church. He should pray for his enemies and bless those that curse him. A man obtains forgiveness for sins by true repentance, not money. Now, that is a reference to the sale of indulgences, which the church ultimately agreed with him on in the Council of Trent documents. The doctors of the theological faculty replied, but without success. As in, the his faculty, how put it, his faculty comrades made a response to him, and ultimately it did little to convince him. And you know what? In some ways, understandable that he was right in this situation, as the Council of Trent itself would later declare. Continue. A few days afterwards, some of Hus's followers, led by Voksa, I'm not going to pronounce that last name, burned the papal bulls. Hus, they said, should be obeyed rather than the church, which they considered a fraud of mob of adulterers and simonists. So we're going to stop it there, but now look at what's going on here. What we have, ladies and gentlemen, is
Less of that we stuff. We have this, we have that. It's you saying it. You don't speak for everybody else. Give over with the arrogance, bro. It's true. Making inclusive statements like that
does
is
not
nauseating.
Really care about having the Bible clear.
Oh.
That's not what he's trying to do.
Oh.
Jan Hus, more than anything else, is decrying the sale of indulgences and is decrying ecclesiastical action in the Crusades.
Yeah, no wonder. So Jan Hus is against indulgences and the Crusades. Oh. Don't worry, Bro's going to explain it all to us.
The Bible doesn't even come up. And again, don't even trust my word or Wikipedia's word on it. Encyclopedia Britannica here, which I have up, says the same thing. It clearly says the same thing. So without even talking about
that must be your Encyclopedia Britannica. It must be the only encyclopedia that says it then. Because Fro used that argument against me concerning the word Babylon, or Babylonian, right, as being Catholic, and some other definition I gave for something, I can't remember precisely. Oh, here's Jamie Russell. Why aren't I surprised? If Jamie Russell can get support from anybody, including Ace, Theo, Andy Capp, or I dare say even the devil himself, Jamie Russell will have them in their studio to try and get them to back him up. Right? Are we still friends, bro? Lol. Yawn who's? Yeah, alright, Jamie. Little joke to break the ice.
the Council of Constance and his later execution, it's abundantly clear that what Huss is arguing against is going to be aspects of the papacy, sale of indulgences, and ecclesiastical actions of the Crusades. That's it. You don't get this idea that he wanted to make the Bible clear.
Ecclesiastical. Well, we could argue about that definition, couldn't we? I would call what Fro refers to as ecclesiastical as a cesspit.
To all, where and when. Now,
Flo,
think if I
listen,
remember correctly,
Flo whinges about Jan Hus, right, about concerning the Bible, if we wanted to make the Bible more clear to more people and stuff. Flo, here's the hypocrisy of that. Flo, right, is a theistic evolutionist. He has been shown to be an absolute dummy, false teacher by Sam, Redefine Living. The videos on my channel, just type in Redefine or Flow or whatever, it should come up. I've got the recording somewhere. Oh dear. Here's Jamie again.
John Huss, how I'll put it, wrote a Bible in the vernacular.
Not that it proves anything. Bear in mind here, Flo has given Jamie Russell a spanner. No big deal, I don't give a stuff about spanners. Right? No loss to me.
Pure language. But then again, that was technically a crime in his day from where he was. But this was not the reason he was executed.
All right, he was
It
executed.
just added to the reasons, sure. But it's not the reason. And so John MacArthur here wants to make Jan Hus look more like Martin Luther than Jan Hus cared to be. And there's a term for that. It's called pseudo-history. Let's continue.
Yeah, like your history, Fro. You were valiantly going to debate the humanitarian undercurrent of the Inquisitions, weren't you? Then it changed to, were the Inquisitions ethical? Are you kidding, you fool? Pseudo-history? Fro, you said the other day only 30,000 were ever killed by the Vatican in the Inquisitions, blah blah, which is an absolute lie. But for you to say, oh, it was only 30,000, like it doesn't mean anything, it does. And yeah, I know, unfortunately, some Protestants, and I think it may well have been, like, they'd come out of Roman Catholicism, but they still had the same unfortunate habits as the Catholics. Somehow, I don't know. I can't explain it. But very, very rarely did the Protestants ever execute Roman Catholics. Some have been executed. Those people at the gunpowder plot, they were traitors. That's it. And there were a few others. Not that many. But in comparison to the Roman Catholicism, and I'm not doing a tu quoque fallacy, but in comparison to the Roman Catholic Inquisitions and their murders, a very, very tame persecution it was, and it didn't last very long. And there's, the Protestants didn't do it doesn't even compare to the unimaginable scale of the evil of Roman Catholic persecutions. Flo is an idiot. He is a voice for pseudo-history himself when it comes to Roman Catholicism. What a massive hypocrite. Seriously, Flo?
Idiot.
Moron.
They condemned him to death for doing that. Why? 3 things. 1, he said that every believer is a part of the church. 2, he said the Bible is the sole authority, but mostly they condemned him for saying Jesus Christ is the head of his church.
Now, as we already articulated earlier, none of that is true.
Oh, is it?
That is all.
Is it a lie? I don't know. I'm not backing up John MacArthur. I wouldn't give the time of day to him. As I said in a previous stream recording, I wouldn't give him a used tea bag. I wouldn't even give him your used tea bag. Oh, but Fro in his mind has already established that he's a liar, that he's wrong and blah, blah. Oh.
All of it is BS.
All right.
First of
Okay.
all, Jan Hus did not believe the Bible was the sole authority in the way John MacArthur believes it to be. Jan Hus, in fact, would have did not have a problem with reconciliation to a priest.
Rubbish.
He didn't have a problem
I doubt
with
that.
indulgences necessarily. He hated their sale. He absolutely believed in the authority of your local priest. In fact, not only that, but as the article cites here in Wikipedia, and that is yeah. In fact, according to Dr. Philip Schaff of in the new Schaff Herzog Encyclopedia of Religious Knowledge of Jan Hus, what Jan Hus decried was essentially the fact that all of the bishops and priests, and to the Pope to a degree, are simonists. They are given to selling off their religious offices, and so what has to happen, therefore,
I think that's called simony.
they cannot be trusted. So, what does he say? We can't obey the clergy as it is, but the papal bulls must be obeyed. That's what he believed.
Is it?
He decried his own camp for burning papal bulls by Alexander V, for what we just read. In any case, what is going on here is something that...
Ray's going to explain it now. Ooh.
This is something that John MacArthur would not be able to reconcile himself with. John MacArthur would not accept this. He would say, burn the papal bulls too, along with every priest, every bishop, or rather their authority specifically. John MacArthur would want the priests and the bishops to be overthrown, and only uneducated Bible preachers to be in the pulpit. That's what John.
Oh, right. They're all uneducated, are they, these Bible preachers? Well, you're uneducated. You're totally twisted out of shape, you lad. What a poisonous individual. He actually believes himself to be a Christian. In fact, he said, I think it was in Standing for Truth studio, he actually thinks he's born again. I just had to go in there and say that he is a liar. And he is a liar. He is not born again. Simple as that. And, but anyway.
MacArthur would want. That's not at all, in any way, shape, or form, what Jan Hus wanted.
Oh, isn't it? How do you know? How do you know?
Told you that it was the sole authority. And what's the other crap he said here? Hold on.
He said that every believer is a part of the church.
Sure he did. And nobody disputed that. Every Catholic knew in 1419, when he was executed, that every Catholic was a part of the church.
Oh.
Every member.
No. Host was on about the Christian church. He wasn't. I don't think he was on about Roman Catholicism, bro. Roman Catholicism, the Roman Catholic so-called church, is not the church. It's just a congregation. That's all Roman Catholicism is. It's not Christian. It's Babylonian filth. It is disgusting. Just like you, Fro. But see, that's what I mean with these Catholics. You've got to be careful of the terminology. When they're using certain terminology, you just know that they have. You need to know and realise and see it for yourself that these people do not believe the same thing as you think that they do.
Is a part of the church. This doesn't even appear in his biographies. So I'm not sure. So when John MacArthur says this is just a lie, to be quite honest, to be quite frank. It's not true. Jan Hus did not. Jan Hus did not say this because there was nobody that denied that. Nobody denied that. And what we quickly come to find here from this scene is just John MacArthur's utter dishonesty on display. There's no charitable way of saying it. There's no charitable way. When John MacArthur says these things, he is saying this as a utterly biased man that is
So are
allowing his
you.
bias
Wow.
to overcome.
Wow, Fro, please. Oh dear. Do you mean to tell me that you have no bias at all? You are absolutely neutral on the issue. Bro, Galilean. And he called himself the Inquisitor the other day in somebody else's channel. See that image he's using on his YouTube thingy? That is a guy called, I forgot his name now. Maximilian Kolbe. The Roman Catholics actually say so-called prayers to him. They venerate him. But Fro, of course, is unbiased. What an idiot.
His integrity and honesty. And I think this reason alone sums it up.
You have no integrity, Fro. You are a theistic evolutionist. You're a false... Your head is full of lies and false history, pseudo-history. Can't believe how
The
bad.
third reason.
2, he said the Bible is the sole authority, but mostly they condemned him for saying Jesus Christ is the head of his church.
Yeah, no one condemned him for saying that. They condemned him for not listening to direct commands by ecclesial authorities. They condemned him for other reasons, specifically. Actually, let's look that up here.
I
For the
can't
soul
listen
was
to more of this.
how should I say
You can look.
this?
Freud's going to leave this video.
Okay.
You know his channel, right? Just do a YouTube search. I don't know, John MacArthur, Jan Hus. I'm going to leave it here. I've had enough. I mean, this guy is so unbelievably patronising, conceited, full of lies. He is totally biased. Of course, I mean, he's a Roman Catholic. He thinks, I don't know whether he thinks he's an inquisitor or he's just being sort of joking about it, as though the Inquisitions were a joke or something. I don't think anybody comes in. I just wonder if he's finished. I don't know what else he's saying on here. Let's have a look at Jamie. Jamie's never sure what anything necessarily means. He doesn't know. I don't know. I'm not even, I'm not even going to try and follow up on what Jamie says. That is a waste of time, believe me. Oh, he's on about his Sabbath again. Truth. John MacArthur does not represent Protestantism. I would argue that John MacArthur isn't even a Protestant. I don't know. I mean, I've heard some of his stuff. Not for more than 10 or 20 minutes. But I do know he has taught false doctrine, and those are the bits I looked at. I'm not actually interested in listening to an American blabbering. I'm going to call it a day.